afternoon. Welcome to SuperScreen News at 6. I am Olamide Omunka. The presidency says President Muhammadu Buhari will visit Benue State after an attack that led to the killing of over 70 people on New Year's Day in the state. The president will also visit all the states affected by terrorism and communal violence, including Yobe State, Taraba, Zamfara, and Rivers State. You will recall that President Buhari has been criticized by many Nigerians for not visiting these states, despite his government's failure to protect scores of people who were killed in the violence. President Muhammadu Buhari, who tasked the armed forces and other security agencies to compile comprehensive reports on the various incidents happening in the state, will be on hand to consult the victims and get a situation report by himself. The Adamawa state government has ordered principals of girls' secondary school not to allow visitors into the premises of the abduction. The State Commissioner of Women Affairs and Social Development, Aliyu Tola, who disclosed this to journalists when outlining the activities by the ministry to commemorate the International Women's Day in the state, said the state government took the preventive measures, apart from the security measures already put in place, to avert the abduction of any girls in the state. Tola said following the abduction of the Dachi schoolgirls, the state government summoned all principals of secondary schools and took statistics of all girls-only secondary schools in the state and where they were located before ordering the principals to control the entry of visitors into such schools. Away from that now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearraigned a former governor of Oyo State, Adebayo Alao Akala, and two others in the State High Court sitting in Ibadan over alleged 11.5 billion naira fraud. Other defendants arraigned are former Oyo State Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Matters, Osie Agbola and Femi Babalola. The defendants are facing 11 counts bordering on conspiracy, awarding contracts without budgetary provisions, obtaining by false pretense, acquiring property with money derived from an illegal act, and concealing the ownership of such property, amongst others. EFCC's counsel, B. Ubi, told the court that the former governor awarded a contract to Pentagon Engineering Services, a firm owned by Babalola, and that he handled the contract on behalf of 33 local governments without budgetary provisions being in place. Human rights advocacy groups, Socio-Economic and Accountability Project, otherwise known as SERAP, has threatened to sue the Minister of Water Resources and Rural Development, Suleiman Adamu, if he fails to give an account of how the budgetary allocations to the ministry from 1999 till date were spent. The group demanded that Adamu explain why Nigeria's waters and sanitation infrastructure has continued to deteriorate, with Nigerians resorting to drinking water from contaminated sources. In an open letter by its Deputy Director, Timothy Adewale, SERAP expressed serious concerns that millions of Nigerians do not have access to clean and potable water and adequate sanitation. The body also issued a clause in which the letter must be replied within 14 days. A chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Anike Nwonga, has approached a federal high court in Enugu to challenge the provision of the Independent National Electoral Commission over 2019 election timetable set by the National Assembly. Nwonga, who is the zonal vice chairman of the APC in Enugu East Senatorial District, filed in a suit dated March 2, 2018. His lawyer, Godwin Onwusi, is asking the Enugu court for an interlocutory injunction restraining the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria from assenting to the revised timetable as contained in a bill passed by the National Assembly. The timetable released by INEC said the poll would commence with the election of the President, members of the National Assembly, followed by the governorship and state assembly elections. But the National Assembly revised the timetable, placing the National Assembly election first, followed by the governorship and state houses of assembly polls, while the presidential election will come last. Now, ahead of the 2019 election, The youth wing of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has charged youth across the country's political space to be more involved in democratic processes. The national youth leader of the party, Ude Okoye, gave the charge during the party's youth conference held in Benin City, the Edo State capital. More details in this report. In his address at the event, the People's Democratic Party national youth leader, Ude Okoye, said the youth are the real catalyst of change, urging them to rise up and fight to rescue democracy in the country.
This time around, it is our duty as youths to fight for the rescue of democracy. This democracy is ours, passed to us by those that ran before us. We must not disappoint them and their memory, for the democracy is their legacy to us.
Some of the leaders of the party equally charged the youth to be proactive and embrace the concept of true democracy, reminding them that for a good and effective government to be in place, sacrifices must be made in the interest of the nation.
Youths do practically 75% of what needs to be done in an election. When you are talking about those who will go to INEC, those who will follow materials, those who will be agents, those who will mobilize, the bulk of the people we are talking about are the youths. So any party that neglects in the youth chapter does so at their own peril.
We young people have to wake up to our responsibility. So today I think our mind has been fired with the fact that we need to stand up and take leadership or take over leadership.
On the spot, the Edo State youth leader, Thaddeus Erabo, urged the party members to stick together to achieve a common goal, especially as the general election approaches.
Almost 65% of the youth are in this category of 18 to 42 years old. These are the giants of politics. But unfortunately, we've not been able to harness our strength to have a voice in this country.
These PDP leaders eventually came to a consensus that the youth should embrace democratic freedom and reforms as they search for political engagement in the country. The Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, the JAMB, has directed candidates for the 2018 UTME to start printing their examination notification slip from Tuesday, March 6th. The board's head of media and information department, Fabian Benjamin, said arrangements had been concluded for the successful conduct of the exam scheduled to hold from March 9th to March 17th. Benjamin said the JAMB has successfully conducted the mock unified tertiary examination, and as a result, they are confident the 2018 UTME can start. He said the mock UTME is to expose the candidates to the process as well as test the level of preparedness of the various centers. He also warned candidates not to go to their respective centers with prohibited items such as telephones, wristwatches, pens, and other devices. A road accident has occurred today on Ikorodu Road of Lagos State. The accident, which involves 3 private cars, caused a terrible traffic jam on the Ikorodu-Onipan Road. Owners of the cars that were severely damaged were engaged in a hot argument on who is responsible for the accident. Speaking with SuperScreen News, they blamed one another for the accident.
The only thing I knew is that he hit me.
From the back?
From the back. See the car there? He hits me. From the look of things, he hits him, so he had to use me as a shield.
You are the one that hit her from behind.
No, this is the car that caused the whole incident. I'm driving through this place, so I'm behind the woman. But suddenly I just hear his bar from my back. So for me to, before I know, I hit the other woman. So that's just all I know.
So which means the major cause of the accident is the last car behind you?
Of course.
Though no life was lost, traffic officials, precisely LASIMA officials, were proactive in controlling the traffic. And we will bring you details in subsequent bulletins. You're still watching SuperScreen News at 6. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll take some business news. Stay with us.
Before they come, they're supposed to, give us some information, notice, at least maybe a week or so. There was nothing like that.
Hunger is everywhere in Nigeria. People are dying every day, but Nigeria government are keeping quiet. Herdsmen are killing people. Why?
It's not what we expected because of these old men that are leading us, and you people know, you are aware that these people are not the right people to lead us. These kind of people that are leading us here are people of black mind. They just care about themselves and their family.
You are affecting my village. Let me use if I call it useless, I'm not to mistake. The other place where they build a shop, call it plaza. Say each shop got 4 million naira. So I don't have the money, so I have to leave.
If you plan to get a tribal mark, it takes a lot of pain, but after some time, you enjoy it. No, we experience hold up now during the construction time. Then after some time, we start enjoying it.
The way they are doing the construction is too slow. It's too slow. The construction is too slow. They should stop the construction and make sure people go into their businesses and do their businesses.
Welcome back to SuperScreen News at 6, and now for some business stories. The Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company, Bismarck Rwanda, says economic growth in Nigeria may hit 2.2% this year. He posited that economic growth would be positive this year, adding that this might not make a difference in the life of the average Nigerian. Rewan, who disclosed this at the 2018 Standard Bank Group West Africa Investors Conference held in Lagos, said the nation's trade balance would rise to $9 billion. The federal government has charged a former Bauchi State governorship aspirant, Abdullahi Usman, with 16 Chinese citizens and 9 others with illegal mining lead and zinc. The defendants, including Usman's firm Solid Unit Nigeria Limited and 8 other Nigerians, were accused of engaging in illegal mining at Kampani Zurak in the Wasia local government area of Plateau State between 2015 and 2017. The Office of the Attorney General of the Federation filed 4-count charges against the defendants before Just Division of the Federal High Court on February 20th, 2018. The case, marked FHC J6-2018, was signed by an Assistant Chief State Counsel of the Department of Prosecutions of the Federation, the Federal Minister of Justice, Aminu Alilu. The 4 counts preferred against the defendants were said to be contrary to the punishable under the various provisions of Miscellaneous Offences Act, CAP M17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act of 2007. Still on the business scene, the federal government has announced that Thailand had commenced moves to establish rice mills in Nigeria. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who disclosed this during a tour of some rice farms in Kebbi State, said the government had won its fight against rice importation, particularly from Thailand, as Nigeria had reduced its importation of rice by over 90%. He said Thailand rice growers are making appeal to the federal government that they want to set up rice mills in the country. And Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, says the federal government will begin the repairs of the roads in Ekiti State. Fashola disclosed this to journalists during a fact-finding visit to some roads President Muhammadu Buhari approved recently for repairs in the state. The minister, who was represented by the Southwest Zonal Director in the ministry, Emmanuel Adeoye, said priority would be given to the federal road linking Ifaki-Ekiti and Ikole-Ekiti road network. Fashola said it is the resolve of the President Buhari administration that the federal government's roads must be made motorable to Nigerians. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has announced that it was spending 774 million naira daily, about 23.99 billion naira monthly, as subsidy on the 50 million liters of fuel consumed across the country. The corporation described the amount as on the recovery due to the proliferation of filling stations in communities with international land and coastal borders across the country. The Group Managing Director, NNPC, Mike Antubaro, who disclosed this, said the multiplication of filling stations had energized unprecedented cross-border smuggling of petrol to neighboring countries, making it difficult to sanitize the fuel supply and distribution matrix in Nigeria. You're still watching SuperScreen News at 6. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll take some foreign news and some sports stories. Do stay with us.
Super Dawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on SuperScreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.